Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're joining me today because we're about to get up close and personal about a topic that's super important but often swept under the rug: vaginal health. Just like we care for our skin, our hair, our nails, our lady parts need some love too, right? And trust me, a happy vagina equals a happy you. We're talking about feeling confident, comfortable, and healthy down there. Whether you're dealing with dryness, irritation, or just want to understand your body better, this video is for you. I'm breaking down some common issues and sharing some tips on how to keep things balanced and feeling fresh. So grab your water bottle, get comfy, and let's get right into it. Okay, let's start with a topic that can feel a little awkward to talk about but affects so many women, especially as we age: vaginal dryness. We've all been there, that uncomfortable, sometimes even painful feeling that can make intimacy a big no-no and even everyday life a bit of a struggle. You know, it's like that feeling when your eyes are super dry and everything feels scratchy and irritated. Well, it's kind of similar down there. When we talk about vaginal dryness, we're talking about a lack of lubrication in the vaginal walls. And this can happen for a few reasons. One of the biggest culprits, especially as we get a little older and start going through menopause, is a drop in our estrogen levels. Estrogen is like the moisture manager down there, and when levels dip, things can get a little dry. It's like the Sahara Desert decided to move south, you know? But hey, it's not just menopause. Things like stress, certain medications, even just not being properly aroused before getting busy, can also contribute to dryness. Now you might be thinking, okay, Ali, dryness is annoying, but is it really a big deal? Well, besides putting a damper on your intimate life, vaginal dryness can also lead to itching, irritation, and even increase the risk of infections. So how do you know if you're experiencing vaginal dryness? Well, besides the obvious lack of lubrication, you might also notice some discomfort or pain during sex, a burning or itching sensation, even some light bleeding after intercourse. Now don't panic. The good news is that there are things you can do to combat vaginal dryness. First things first, talk to your doctor. They can help figure out what's going on and recommend the best course of treatment for you. There are over-the-counter lubricants that can help make things more comfortable. And for more persistent cases, your doctor might suggest estrogen therapy or other prescription medications. Let's talk about another common visitor that nobody wants: yeast infections. We've all been there, ladies. That itchy, uncomfortable feeling that just throws everything off. But what exactly causes these uninvited guests? Yeast infections, also known as candidiasis, happen when there's an overgrowth of a type of fungus called candida. Now, candida is a natural resident of our bodies, even down there. It usually hangs out in small numbers, minding its own business. But sometimes things get out of whack and candida decides to throw a party, and trust me, you don't want to be invited. Several things can trigger this candida overgrowth. Antibiotics, while great for fighting off bacterial infections, can sometimes wipe out the good bacteria that keep candida in check. Hormonal changes, like those that happen during pregnancy or our menstrual cycle, can also create a yeast-friendly environment. Even wearing tight, sweaty clothes can trap moisture and create a breeding ground for yeast. So, what are the telltale signs that you might have a yeast infection? Well, the most common symptom is intense itching in the vaginal area. You might also notice a thick, white, cottage cheese-like discharge. And let's not forget about the burning sensation, especially during urination or sex. It's not a fun time, that's for sure. Now, the good news is that yeast infections are usually treatable with over-the-counter antifungal creams or suppositories. But if you're experiencing these symptoms for the first time, it's always best to check in with your doctor to get a proper diagnosis and make sure you're on the right treatment plan. Remember, early detection and treatment are key to kicking those pesky yeast infections to the curb. Now let's dive into another common vaginal health concern: bacterial vaginosis, or BV for short. Don't let the name scare you though. BV is actually a very treatable condition, but it's important to understand what causes it and how to recognize the signs. Think of your vagina as a delicate ecosystem. It has its own natural balance of good and bad bacteria working together to keep things healthy. But sometimes this balance gets disrupted, and the bad bacteria, particularly a type called Gardnerella vaginalis, decide to take over. This bacterial imbalance is what we call bacterial vaginosis. Now, the exact cause of BV isn't always clear, but certain things can increase your risk. Douching, for example, can upset the natural vaginal pH balance and make it easier for bad bacteria to thrive. Similarly, having multiple sexual partners or a new partner can also disrupt the bacterial balance. And here's the thing about BV, it doesn't always come with flashing red lights. Some women might not experience any symptoms at all. However, when symptoms do occur, the most common one is a fishy odor coming from the vagina, which might be more noticeable after sex or during your period. You might also notice a thin, grayish-white or greenish discharge, vaginal itching, and a burning sensation during urination. Now, if you suspect you might have BV, don't panic. The first step is to reach out to your doctor or healthcare provider. They can perform a simple examination and recommend the appropriate treatment, which usually involves a course of antibiotics. Let's be real for a minute. Our bodies have smells. It's natural, it's normal, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But when it comes to vaginal odor, sometimes things can get a little out of whack, and that's when it's time to investigate. Now, before we dive into the causes of vaginal odor, it's important to remember that every woman has her own unique scent down there, and that's totally okay. Just like our fingerprints, our vaginal odor can vary slightly, and that's completely normal. However, if you notice a sudden or drastic change in your vaginal odor, especially if it's accompanied by other symptoms like itching, burning, or unusual discharge, it's essential to pay attention. So, what can cause these changes in vaginal odor? Well, as we discussed earlier, bacterial vaginosis and yeast infections can definitely throw things off balance and lead to unpleasant smells. But it's not always about infections. Sometimes poor hygiene can also contribute to odor. Think about it. Our lady parts are tucked away in a warm, moist environment, which can create the perfect breeding ground for bacteria and odor-causing microbes. That's why it's super important to practice good hygiene habits, like washing the vulva, the outer part of the vagina, daily with mild, unscented soap and water. Another thing to keep in mind is that what we eat and drink can also affect our vaginal odor. Just like asparagus can make our pee smell funky, certain foods like garlic, onions, and even coffee can alter our vaginal scent. Now, if you're concerned about vaginal odor, the first step is to talk to your doctor. They can help determine the underlying cause and recommend the best course of action, whether it's treating an infection, adjusting your hygiene routine, or simply putting your mind at ease. Okay, ladies, let's talk about another uncomfortable and often embarrassing issue: vaginal itching. We've all been there. That irresistible urge to scratch that can drive you absolutely crazy. But before you reach for the nearest object to relieve the itch, let's understand what might be causing it in the first place. Vaginal itching is like the alarm system of your lady parts. It's your body's way of telling you that something's not quite right down there. And just like a smoke detector can be triggered by burnt toast or a real fire, vaginal itching can have a variety of causes, ranging from mild irritations to infections that need medical attention. One of the most common culprits behind vaginal itching is, you guessed it, yeast infections. As we discussed earlier, those pesky yeast overgrowths can wreak havoc down there, causing intense itching, burning, and that telltale cottage cheese-like discharge. Bacterial vaginosis, with its disrupted bacterial balance, can also lead to itching, often accompanied by a fishy odor. But it's not always about infections. Sometimes something as simple as an allergic reaction or irritation can be the source of your woes. Think about all the things that come into contact with our delicate vaginal area: soaps, detergents, feminine hygiene products, even certain fabrics. If you have sensitive skin, these everyday products can sometimes trigger an allergic reaction or irritation, leading to itching, redness, and discomfort. Another thing to consider is contact dermatitis, which is basically a skin rash that develops when your skin comes into contact with an irritant or allergen. This can happen down there too, especially if you're using harsh soaps, wearing tight-fitting synthetic underwear, or even using certain lubricants or spermicides. Now, if you're experiencing persistent or severe vaginal itching, it's crucial to consult with your doctor to get a proper diagnosis and discuss treatment options. And there you have it, ladies. We've covered a lot of ground today, from dryness and infections to odor and itching. Remember, taking care of our vaginal health is just as important as taking care of any other part of our body. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctor, ask questions, and advocate for your own well-being. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let's break the stigma surrounding vaginal health and empower each other to feel confident and comfortable in our own bodies. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more informative videos on women's health, beauty, and everything in between. Until next time, stay healthy, stay beautiful, and take care of those lady parts.